Live from Studio B, welcome to Rotor Talk Live, your weekly home for the latest consumer drone news, rumors, reviews, and tips. Since 2017, we've helped drone fans stay on top of what's rumored, what's flying, new specs, features, updates, and expert analysis. Hosted by Bill the Drone Reviewer and co-hosted by Ron Brown from Drone Nation, we keep you up to date on everything in the consumer drone space.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 9, Episode 28. FCC finds DJI clone companies. There's a typo in the title, so forgive me for that. But hope you guys are doing well. And as I stated in the promo for this is a really important show. So, you know, as they say, grab your mom, grab your pa, grab all your friends from Arkansas. And seriously, this is going to be good, and there's a lot of good information we're going to share with you guys tonight. So just want to highlight that first and foremost going into it. You guys were ready and present here. Let's see. Joe's here. Gator Drone is here. Joe's here. Steve Janess, Art is in. Let's see who else. Steve Porter. Eagle Eye, welcome. Captain Ray is here. Michael Wright is here, welcome. Giggles FPV. Casey Crime Fighter, welcome, my friend. Let's see who else. Okay, that's all. That's what we got here. Want to thank you, first and foremost. A ton of you guys went out there and did an awesome job and wishing my better half a very happy birthday last week. So kudos to all of you guys for doing that. By the way, she had one of the best birthdays she's had in like ages. It was a great day for her. She had, of course, you know, she had to work, and it was her work day went well. We went out for a small dinner that night, and she enjoyed her gifts. And I went out early in the morning before I started work, got Starbucks for her, and I stopped at Publix and got a dozen roses for her, and she enjoyed her gifts as well that I got her, and it was just a wonderful, very special day. Got a real nice card. It was a pop-up card that had it was Valerie's 65th birthday. It said happy 65th birthday with pink roses all over the place. So, yeah. And this Saturday, what we do is, because our birthdays fall together, so they're only 9 days apart, because they're so close to each other, what we've done is, actually 8 days, what we do is we wait for the weekend after my birthday and then go out. And so that's going to be this weekend, because my second anniversary, my 34th birthday is on Thursday. Hint, hint. Okay. Yeah. Somebody taught me that when I got into my 50s, just say it's your second anniversary of your ex birthday, and it sounds a whole lot more palatable, and it does. So anyway, my birthday's on Thursday. I've decided to take the day off, which I'm looking forward to. I'm probably going to go out. Valerie's working, but she's going to be working from home, and I'm going to get some breakfast out, McDonald's, probably bring it back. And I'm going to do some flying. I haven't had a chance to do some flying, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that here in a second. And then this Saturday, what we have planned is we're going to go to Capitol Grill. And if you guys know what Capitol Grill is, it's a very upscale restaurant. They have them in, I think, 8 or 9 major cities. And the one here in Tampa is known for, they have just absolutely incredible steaks. And several years ago, we got a steak called the Kona steak. It's a Kona rub steak, and it's rubbed in Kona coffee, okay? Well, it just so happens that the caffeine in that rub is passed on to the steak. And, yeah, it tastes fantastic. But, boy, oh, boy, 3 o'clock that night after we had, both Valerie and I were like, we're up wide awake. Let's watch some TV at 3 a.m. in the morning. It was like there was no sleeping. So we were going to pass on that. But no, it's very upscale. And it's a place that's known to frequent, like NFL head coaches go there. A lot of athletes go there. So we're both going to get dressed up. We haven't gotten dressed up for a while. So looking forward to doing that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's Saturday. That's coming up this weekend. So, all right. Enough being said. I have not gone out to do a lot of flying recently, and I wanted to kind of give you a little, I don't know, primer as to why that's happened. And it should kind of be a no-brainer. Kind of should be a no-brainer, but I'm going to go ahead and put this infographic up here that I use ChatGPT to do. Hillsborough County, Tampa, that's where I live. Summer 2026 has been brutal. The average air temperature has been 90 to 97 degrees. The heat index has been from 100 to 113 degrees. The UV index is 9 to 11 plus, which is absolutely insane. And the humidity is 60 to 80%. So it feels anywhere from 95 to 108 degrees. Heat exhaustion can happen very quickly here if you're not hydrated enough. And also heat stroke, which is really a medical emergency, can happen as well too. So one of the things that they absolutely advise, and they said the best advice is to do your outdoor activities before 10 a.m. and after 6 p.m. at night. And I'm gonna revise that. It's do them before 9 a.m. Okay, and probably more closer to 7 p.m. at night. So yeah, during the hottest part of the day, you do not want to be outside. It is just too brutal. I mean, just to even literally going from the garage to my car, you got to be careful. You have to use sunscreen. You don't want to get burned. And you also have to realize too, this is brought on. We've not had a lot of rain, so it's really kind of exacerbated the situation. Fortunately, the past week or so, we have gotten some rain, not enough, but we have gotten some, which has helped quite a bit. So, but in conjunction with all of this as well too, this has a reciprocating effect, and what I mean by that is, our air conditioning. Now our house is like 5 years old, and I put up some explanations behind this, and I wanted to take a minute to go over this here. Our air conditioning, we normally set it at 72. A lot of times it struggles just to even get to 74 during the day. Now we have what's called a twin villa, which is it's like a better part. It's a house, but we have a wall between the two. All right, wonderful neighbors next door. But the thing, it's smaller. So you would think because it's smaller, you wouldn't have to cool down as much. Well, it's been a struggle, and our AC is fine. We keep it up to date. We make sure the drain line's clear. There's really no issues with that. It's just a heavy demand on it. And the other thing that it really affects is cooking, believe it or not, because we have a gas stove. And every time you use that stove, it's going to raise the temperature up inside the house. And it's a catch-22. Valerie only cooks like one big dish a week, and that's on Sunday afternoon, like a chicken casserole, and we have that for a few days during the week. We also will have, and you can probably see there's a picture I put up there. Publix has some stuff heat and eat stuffed cabbage, which it's only in the oven for 45 minutes or so, and we put that on in the latter part of the day. But because you put things on in the middle part of the day, it's going to rise the temperatures up. It's just absolutely crazy. So all in all, with all of that being said, it's like next to impossible to get out to fly. I mean, you really have to do it before 9 o'clock in the morning or after 7 o'clock at night. And, for me, for work, it's it doesn't jive with my schedule at all. And weekends, we try to get some stuff done on weekends, and it's crazy. It really is. I mean, and you really, seriously, doing things outside, you're very limited because it's so hot, it's so humid. Even before 9, you got to really pace yourself. You got to be well hydrated when you get out there, and it can easily overwhelm you. So, thankfully, our air's been cooling sufficiently, and we work. Both of us work from home. Valerie most of the time, me full time. So, all in all, I just kind of wanted to go over that. Well, and again, welcome to everybody. Brad's here. Welcome, Brad. Sergeant Rock, welcome. Dallas SC, JSK Enterprise. Thank you guys for stopping by tonight. I appreciate that. Okay. All right. Burr. We got a lot, like I said, to cover here tonight. Let's see the first thing that I want to bring up here. Okay. One of the things with getting hardware is eventually it runs out of support. And there are some items that Drone DJ has highlighted here that are going to be running out of support soon for DJI, and I wanted to kind of bring that up. four discontinued products: the Zenmuse Z30 zoom camera, the Zenmuse XTS thermal camera, manifold to onboard computer, and Data Link 3 wireless transmission systems here. Products that served enterprise pioneers: the Zenmuse Z30, ZTS, Manifold 2, and Data Link 3. So they've reached end of life, and they really kind of don't apply to us in the consumer drone space. But it's just a reminder that these kind of things will happen. And and I think they had one, if I'm not mistaken, they issued one for the Phantom 4, and that's probably going to be coming up, I think, either later this year or early next year. Though somebody who remembers that is knowledgeable, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's going to be coming up. So, but because it means it's end of life, and what end of life is, and for those of you who are not familiar with this terminology, it's end of support life, and it's end of software support life specifically. So your drone will still fly. It's not going to be a brick after that date. And if you still have these products for an enterprise level drone, they're still going to work. It's just they won't have any more software support, and you won't be able to ping DJI. You're going to have to go out to forums and groups and try to find answers to questions regarding that. So that's kind of where that's at, and it happens with all kinds of products. So just wanted to make everybody aware of that here. Okay, now we all know. Oh, got a little show and tell, by the way. Look what finds its way into Bill's cart here. And there's Ron. How are you, sir?
Hello, Bill. How are you today?
Good. Want to show one of my latest purchase here.
The Osmo 360?
Yep. Great price on Amazon. It's the Adventure Combo. And I got lens covers from Adorama. DJI OEM, they're coming. I got a cage for it. I also got a long selfie stick, and what I wanted to do was take a minute. Where did you get it, Bill? On Amazon, and the price was great on Amazon.
How much?
$440, I think, and it's for the Adventure Combo. It has the 3 batteries with it. It has the selfie stick with it, and I ordered another selfie stick. And what I'm planning on doing, and this is kind of an announcement for the channel, so it's kind of good timing as far as that's concerned. I'm also going to be doing. I recently purchased a rock crawler, and I know Alex Escardo and some of you other ones who imbibe in that. It's an RC truck, and it's a high lift, and it's a clone of the Toyota Helix, which is a very popular truck overseas. It looks a lot like a Tacoma, okay, or an older Tacoma, but it's lifted high up, and it's pre-built. It's not one of these ones.
This will be a replacement for your Tacoma that you traded in.
Yeah, I traded a Tundra in, but yeah, it'll kind of be replacement for that.
Yeah.
And what I'm planning on doing is, and I also enlisted the help of. And I pinged Sean from Air Photography because he gave me the idea and he gave me some inspiration, is to mount the Osmo 360 in the bed of the truck and mount it in such a way that you can catch all the action. And what's nice with it, these rock crawlers, they're not extremely fast. They're not like, Traxxas, I think, is a brand that's really known for speed and everything. They're not known for that.
Highlight Alex's comment in the chat, the most recent one.
Yes, absolutely, Alex. I do too, and I'm really excited. Now it's an HGP 409 is the name for it, and it used to be out on our friends at begin with B. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Banggood. Used to be out there. And Alibaba and everything. I got mine off eBay, and I got a great deal on it. It was from an American hobby store here, and I think it's in Phoenix, Arizona, or in Arizona. So anyway, we're going to be doing more of that. I have a Ford F350 that Valerie got me a couple of years ago for Christmas, and I pinged Sean, and he gave me some ideas. And Alex, I may be pinging you for some ideas as well too on getting using the camera and things like that, and also. What I want to eventually try to do is maybe see if I can get my better half to help me out and go out for some adventures where I'm taking the taking the truck out with the Osmo 360 on it, and then taking the Avata 360, and kind of doing a dual kind of a thing here, and trying to see that. So I'm adding another
I said
dimension.
a while ago, somebody had to come up with a 360 channel instead of a drone channel, a 360 channel. Bill, you lost audio. Bill, you lost audio.
There we go. Okay. I'm doing this to kind of fill in the gap, so to speak, because a lot of with what's going on with the drone part of things, this may slow down. So it won't slow down on this channel. We're going to be doing things like that. And Alex has given me a lot of inspiration, and I want to say kudos to you, Alex, and several others I saw at the meetup at the hotel that we're doing it outside in the parking lot. Thank you guys for that. And Sean from Air Photography, he's given me some inspiration as well. So
hey,
Bill, we're gonna give it a shot.
Bill, I'm going to stop you for a second, and we need to send thoughts and prayers out to Sean Air Photography. He pinged me. It was 111 degrees today at his house. And for this, I know, Bill, that's normal for you, but for those people, that's
wow, yeah,
that's pretty hot.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Michael Wright. Appreciate that. That's great. That's fantastic news. Well, our next door neighbors have a home up in North Carolina, and they spend part of the time up, part of the year up there, part of the year down here, and they came back today. And as they came back today, we had a package waiting for them, so my wife went over to talk to them, and they said it's actually warmer in South Carolina or North Carolina than it is here in Tampa.
Oh, wow,
now,
wow.
I just put up an infographic about the heat and everything, and one of the things that people don't realize is, our AC unit's only 5 years old, but it still has a time. It struggles to get to 74 during the day. We have it set at 72, but it'll get down there at night. The other part of the problem is you really can't cook during these days because you heat up the stove, and we have a gas stove, and you turn the oven on or you turn even the cooktop on. That raises the temperature in the house, and it's just that much more of a struggle for the air conditioner to work. So what Valerie does is she makes like a chicken casserole dish that will last maybe 2 or 3 days, like on Sunday, and then midweek we'll buy some. We get some taken heat stuffed cabbage from Publix, and that only takes about 45 minutes, and there's a couple of meals there, and then we'll go out, we'll do things like maybe Chick-fil-A or some other things, or maybe Texas Roadhouse to kind of parse it out because of the heat. So that's kind of like
Bill, is it too hot to go down to use the girls at the pool?
Yeah, it's even too hot to go to the pool during the middle of the day. You really can't do that.
Girls down there don't do the cookout.
Well, yeah, we don't really have facilities to do cookouts, but we have an on-site restaurant there that you can grab a hamburger or hot dog at. But yeah, we went out. We went up there for the 4th of July and sat outside for an hour, and that was enough. We were done with being outside for the day after that. I mean, it was just too hot. So yeah, really was there. Now, the article I was gonna talk about right now, as Ron joined us, is we all know that DJI and Insta360 are not partnered here, okay? And DJI and Insta360 shift their patent war from the U.S. to China, and it really kind of makes sense. And this article talks about that and gets into some detail. But why in the first place, Ron, that they even brought it here in the United States is a real question mark, because the legality of this is probably Chinese. Because it really kind of lends itself to that. I still, and they get into a good explanation on everything that's going on with this. So you can peruse this at your leisure, but I wanted to make people aware of that because it's something that's noteworthy as far as that's
Bill,
concerned.
I know that courses like this will take years to work through, but how do you think something like this is going to come out at the end? Will a court make a decision, or will these guys settle out of court at some point?
I think they'll probably try to settle out of court because they don't want it to drag through the mud. And I think, the Chinese court system is probably as bogged down as ours is. And, they don't want to get it tied up. And, well, I don't know how their lawyer structure and fees and things work over there, but assuming it's anywhere near like ours, they're not. This won't go probably more than a year or so before they have some kind of settlement is concerned. And It's
Yeah,
real
plus
interesting.
it's kind of a strange case now because essentially DJI, even with their cameras, they're pretty much out of business in the U.S. and we don't know the exact figures of how big a market for them we are. But of course, Insta360 has no such issues. All their camera devices are still rolling out, so it's almost like in the U.S. at least, I mean, the rest of the world I see, but in the U.S. it's really not a battle because DJI is basically forced out here.
Yeah, yeah. DJI's lost the U.S. market for now, as far as we know, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that coming up in the main part of the show. But yeah, it's not something that's available to them, and Insta360, it's ripe for the picking, and they're trying to innovate and trying to get products into our market because they're not blacklisted like DJI is here, and we're gonna see what's gonna happen there. I mean, but the thing I wanted to say, and even bringing this article up is it's really kind of a win-win for consumers because it forces both of these companies to try to one up the other and do better. And anytime there's competition like that, we as a consumers have a tendency to take advantage of it. But also too, Insta360 is going to fill that void until when and if DJI is allowed back in the United States, as far as that's concerned.
And they've really been filling the void for years now because they not only make 360 cameras, but they've made action cameras for years, and now they're making a pocket camera. So they've already filled that void. Bill, before we get off of Insta360, did you? I don't know if you have this in the agenda, but the rumors on Twitter are coming fast and furious. The pictures. It looks like the X6 will be coming out in the near future, and it's funny the pictures they have of it. It looks like they kind of shrunk it down a little bit to look more like the DJI 360 camera you just showed, rather than the long skinny form of the X5 and the previous models.
Yeah, I did see that. I did see that out on Twitter as well too. And you're right, it has gotten smaller. It's really kind of like it's almost like they're carbon copying DJI, and here we go with a lawsuit kind of a thing again.
And of course, the bad rumor is it's on the north side of seven. They think the price could be the north side of $700. That'll be considerably more than you paid for your DJI 360, Osmo 360.
And see, Ron, this is and I want to make a point here before we move on. Is granted, Insta360 has kind of like a captive audience with the United States because DJI really, in all essence, is not really allowed here. But they're trying. They're I don't know if you want to call it price gouging and charging exorbitant prices for things that probably really only are $200 or $300 less.
But the Luna Ultra is with the whatever you call it, the venture combo, whatever they call it, combo is like $950. They took the pocket camera, which used to sell for about $500-$600. They put it almost at $1,000 now.
Yeah, and no, I agree. I agree about that, Ron. There are some things that we really want to spend some time on tonight, and right now is that time in the show here. It really is what we've seen transpire the past few days is pretty amazing. Now, the first article that I want to put up here is, and this is all really kind of to do with the FCC and some of the actions that they're taking here. Shopping for DJI drones online, FCC wants more transparency, okay? And the proposal builds an Operation Clean Carts, and we're going to get into that here in a minute here, okay? The proposal's biggest change, however, isn't about online shopping. It's about what's inside the devices themselves. The FCC maintains a covered list, and we all know what the covered list is, all right? According to the FCC, this creates a loophole because some of these embedded components are technically capable of affecting or compromising the operation of the entire device, okay? Carr's proposal would close that gap by extending restrictions to nearly all logic-bearing hardware components, electronic parts capable of processing, storing, or transmitting information. Only simple mechanical items such as screws, nails, or other dumb components would remain exempt here. Okay. why drone users should pay attention. And we're going to get into that here in a minute as far as that's concerned. Now, I did put together an infographic and some more info on this, and I wanted to go ahead and share that because I thought this was important for people to know and to understand this here, okay? And this infographic's out on Build a Drone Reviewer, and feel free to share this with I made it so it's shareable. You can go ahead and copy it. Please do, because I think this information is too good to not to share with people here, okay? Operation Clean Cart. Removing unauthorized and prohibited electronic devices from the marketplaces to protect communications and security here, okay? Who's involved? Amazon, eBay, Walmart. Reported results, 3+ million listings have been purged from these commerce sites since the FCC Operation Clean Cart has gone to effect. Now, will this affect drones? And this is an important thing, and I want to make sure that people understand this because you may see other people out there, and they may say a lot of things, but you need to understand something, okay? The only way drones are affected is if they're on the blacklist or the covered list, okay? If they're not on that list, they're not affected, okay? Just want to be real clear about that because I know there's been some confusion and I've seen a lot of people and heard a lot of things out there. Want to make sure they have to be on that covered list. If they're not on that covered list, okay, then they're still fine here in the United States.
Bill, we talked about this on one of the shows recently. I think that's part of the confusion is there's no place you can go and just see a plain list in plain English, a list of drones that you're not allowed to use. Like you can't find a list that says, well, either way, you can't find a list that says the Sky Rovers are approved. You can't find a list that says they're not. This searches through the database or whatever. No normal person is going to do that. There need to be clear lists of what's approved and what's not approved. And as of today, that list doesn't exist anywhere, Bill.
Oh, I know, Ron. So let me go ahead and I want to get. There's another article that
I think one of the articles said they even wanted like when you see a drone advertised on say Amazon, it should be somewhere in the literature or the descriptions should say FCC approved.
Exactly,
and something see that FCC approved, say stamp or whatever, then you know it's not.
Yeah. Now, see, what I saw, and I forget where I saw it, and I thought I captured it, but I'm not sure. Is that a pop-up would come up and say this is FCC approved or this is not FCC, warning, this is not FCC approved, kind of a thing. All right. Now I put together, and this is from ChatGPT.
Bill, your audio went again. Bill, your audio.
Yeah, I got to take a look and see what's going on with that. Okay. Consumer gadgets, smart home and surveillance. Now, really kind of what this emphasizes is the real crux of this is on a smart home and surveillance and network connected security cameras, consumer gadgets, smartwatches, fitness trackers, and mobile accessories, networking gear, Wi-Fi routers, network switches, and individual gateways, spyware and intercept tools, software or hardware combination specifically engineered for unauthorized tracking or information gathering here, okay? Automatic screening controls, direct FCC data sharing, merchant compliance education platforms have been mandatory training modules to inform third-party sellers about federal electronics compliance, penalizing repeat offenders who attempt to bypass the filters, okay? Targeting bad labs, the FCC expanded enforcement by banning third-party testing laboratories controlled by foreign adversaries. This blocks unauthorized gear from receiving counterfeit FCC safety stamps before reaching online retail channels here, all right? So, one of the things here, and I wanted to stop in all of this because I've been digesting this the past few days, and as I was going over things here, Ron, the FCC, and I don't know how, it's almost like they've been granted this power to be able to stop this, okay? Like, it's like, all right, well, it's on the covered list, or they can put something on the covered list because it's almost like they can just do it, that there's no real proof. Obviously, we know that about DJI, But with some of these other drones, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, it's like, okay, well, you know what? We're going to put that on the list. We're going to put this on the list. We're going to put this on the list. But yet there are other things out there that do the same things that are real national security concerns, and nobody said anything about it.
Because they're not drones.
Because they're not drones. Exactly. Okay. I mean,
Yeah. The only device capable of doing any spying is a drone.
Yeah.
There have been spying for what? Since there have been spies for all the history of humankind, and now all of a sudden it's drones that are doing all the spying.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about James Bond with his little microphone cameras and whatever? They've been spying for years with non-drone devices.
Well, you know what's real interesting is, and I'll bring a real quick sidebar up about that, is we're watching Tom Hanks recently did a 14-part special on World War II, and he talked about this British code breaker named Ian Fleming. Okay, and if you know who Ian Fleming is, he's the author of James Bond. I mean, that's where it traces back, and he was part of the effort to break the Enigma code to kind of help defeat the Nazis in their U-boats in the North Atlantic in World War II. So, okay, digressing a little bit there. All right, I kind of want to switch gears from this operation.
Yeah, and before you get off that, what the British MI5 is basically during World War II was almost the invention of the modern spy.
Exactly. I mean, the United States had the OSS.
Our CIA was modeled after the MI5.
Well, yeah, the OSS was the precursor to the CIA, and we really didn't have intelligence services until World War II, which was a real shame here. Okay, this article is kind of in conjunction with this here, and I wanted to go ahead and bring this up as well, too. And I think this is important that we talk about. Where'd my screen go? All right.
And Mike Wright in the chat's talking about Maxwell Smart had a lot of good spy devices back in the 60s.
Oh, he sure did. All right. FCC fines 8 alleged DJI front companies $25,000 each for stonewalling investigators. Okay. And, this is the crux of things right here, and this is real important. 8 companies ignored federal letters and now face a July 20th deadline. The FCC's Enforcement Bureau issued letters of inquiry in May 2026 asking each company whether it makes radio frequency equipment tied to the covered list, and none of the 8 responded, triggering $25,000 proposed forfeitures announced July 10th. The notice of apparent liability signed by the Enforcement Bureau Chief Patrick Werby are published on the FCC website. Cohedo Tech, which we know is Specta, lays out the timeline in detail. The Bureau said its letter of inquiry on May 8, 2026, by certified mail to the U.S. agents Cohedo itself designated in its FCC equipment filings. The response deadline was May 22nd. Silence. A deficiency letter followed on May 29th, with delivery confirmed to both the company and its agent, setting a new deadline on June 5th. More silence. One of 2 designated agents could not be reached at all. Both the email and the certified letter came back undeliverable. The pattern matters for penalty math. The base forfeiture for ignoring commission communications is $4,000. The Bureau adjusted it upward to $25,000 per company because the conduct was, in the agency's words, egregious, intentional, and contentious. The statute allows far worse, up to $25,132 for each day of continuing violation, capped at $188,491 per failure to act. Each company now has 10 calendar days from July 10th release to finally answer the original inquiry, and 30 days to pay or contest the fine. And I want to stop right here for a second because it's very interesting. Cohedo, or Specta as it's known, the only product that they have available on Amazon is a battery for the Specta Mini. That's it. They don't have the Specta Mini listed. They don't have the Specta Air listed. They don't have anything else. They just have the battery listed. I went out today, and that's about all you can find as well on eBay as well.
$25,000 for a battery.
Yeah, exactly here. Okay. And there's a chart that kind of goes into that here. The test lab angle reaches beyond the front companies, and this article really breaks things down really well and gets into a real description and on how that Conrad Iturbe's protocol scans set the investigation in motion. And High's been covering this really well as far as that's concerned. Drone XL's take, and this is real interesting, Ron, and I wanted to take a minute and stop and read his take on this because it really kind of encapsulates things here. The first is disbelief that anyone thought this would work. It's bizarre to believe you can launch DJI clone products in the biggest, most scrutinized drone market on Earth and have nobody notice. You do not need to be a security researcher to see that an Extra Muse looks and works like a DJI Osmo Pocket, or that a Sky Rover's lineup mirrors DJI model for model. Any pilot browsing Amazon could spot it, and plenty did. Conrad supplied the technical proof, running protocol scans in public on GitHub for free, and Drone XL documented the shell game last fall. What makes the other side of the ledger just as strange, it still took the federal government 10 months to act on evidence hiding in plain sight. If clone hardware this obvious can sit in mainstream retail listings for the better part of a year, the enforcement gap was never a detection problem. The second reaction is discomfort because this crackdown proves a point I've been making since December 22nd. The ban was built on procedure, not evidence. DJI got added to the covered list because no agency bothered to complete the security audit Congress ordered. Now 8 companies are being fined for paperwork offense, ignoring letters rather than for demonstrated harm from their products. The FCC keeps winning on process while the underlying security question sits unexamined. I oppose the shell games regulatory arbitrage, though. I oppose the shell games. Regulatory arbitrage through disposable Hong Kong entities is exactly the unfair competition Drone XL has always called out, whether it comes from Shenzhen or from protectionists in Washington. But finding proxies for silence is not the same as proving DJI hardware endangers Americans, and nobody in administration seems to be in a hurry to attempt the same thing here, okay? Watch July 20th. If all 8 companies stay silent past that deadline, expect the FCC to escalate toward revoking their equipment authorizations. The exact power granted itself in October 2025. And watch DJI's Ninth Circuit case where the company claims the ban will cost it $1.56 billion in 2026 alone. A court ruling that narrows the covered list designation would gut the legal foundation under every one of these NALS. The front companies were a bet that Washington wasn't paying attention. Washington is paying attention now. Okay. All right. There's a lot to digest there, but one of the things, and I did want to read these both in their entirety because I thought it was important to share that as far as that's
concerned. Too far, I want to go off that last line you just said about watching, not paying attention. Well, like you said earlier in the article, we all knew that Sky Rover and Extra were DJI clone companies years ago. Why did it take the FCC so long to figure it out? What's the guy's name over at the FCC that's running things there?
Brendan Carr.
If it took Brendan Carr this long to figure that out or whatever, maybe he's not the sharpest guy there is over there, right? I mean,
yeah, as they say, not the sharpest tool in the shed. Yeah, I agree, Ron.
So I mean, why so long to figure out when everybody we know knew this months ago, whatever? What's he doing over there?
I can what I can say is this, okay? Haya is right in terms of did DJI really in essence think that they were going to get away with something? I don't want to say it was illegal what they did, but they're trying to fight for survival, okay? They're trying not to lose a market that's going to cost them, according to court records, $1.56 billion a year, okay? Which is a lot. I mean, that's a lot of money. Any way you look at that, that's a lot of money to lay out there on the table and lose, all right? So kudos to them for trying to fight and trying to be sort of creative about it. But, I mean, it was, as Hai said, it was kind of like obvious and in plain sight to do that.
But it worked for a long time, though.
It did. It really did. Now, where I disagree with him is where he says, he's against doing something like that. If you're doing it legally and you can skirt around some of the rules, then why not? Okay, I kind of disagree with him as far as that's concerned because as we talked about, having competition helps both. The consumer wins in the end, and it ends up people buy products from both companies, so it's a win-win-win for everybody as far as that's concerned. I think the part that I agree with him on the most is, this has been based on procedure, not on actual proof.
Yeah,
Okay, you
yeah.
know,
We're still waiting for the evidence.
right. We don't have any evidence whatsoever that this is a national security threat. And we can go back to Elise Stefanik, we can go back to Senator Rick Scott, we can go back to any one of the other characters here, as far as, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. We can go to all of them, and this is not a Republican Democrat kind of thing. Goes across all both sides of the aisle, guys.
This started during the last administration, so
Right. This started during Biden's administration, so there's no, it's not Republican Democrat here. All right, it's everybody's been against this. All right, and every single time they kept saying it was a national security threat, and then they have said that since day one. They gave DJI an opportunity to prove it, and the entities in the federal government decided just to not do anything, and then the covered list became active, and that's where we end up basically sitting right now.
yeah. What you'll say, if you say something long enough, eventually people start believing you.
People start believing it. Exactly here. Now, as of right now, Sky Rover's still available. It's out on, and it's at Sky Rover is on. I went out there and looked, Ron. Sky Rover is on Amazon. It's on B&H. It's on Adorama. It's on Best Buy. Okay,
Yep.
so it's out there and it's available. All right. So if the federal government got fooled, all these other companies got fooled as well too. All right. Why are they marketing it and selling it? And I went out there before the show. It's all out there. You can buy it on any one of them right now. I can order Sky Rover and have it here tomorrow.
Best Buy down your street and pick up a Sky Rover.
I can place an order after the show tonight, and tomorrow morning I have a Sky Rover sitting on my doorstep. Okay,
or just run down to your local Best Buy and pick it up.
Or go down to Best Buy. It's in stock at Best Buy. I could pick it up.
And Bill, here's the funny thing. So they sent a certified letter to Sky Rover, Kahita, whatever, and they didn't get any responses or whatever. Well, if they send a $25,000 fine over there, were they going to get a response? What are they sending this? If they're sending this up to Malaysia, what are they? How are they going to get the money out of those people over there?
Yeah, and look at it this way. And if this points back to DJI, which is really the parent company, $25,000, they laugh. I mean, it's like, why? I mean, it's not even a slap on the wrist.
What's the CEO of DJI? What's his name? The owner,
Frank Wang.
Frank Wang fined $25,000. He just reached into his drawer and get the cash and pay it out.
Yeah,
he probably had it on him.
Exactly. It's really, the fine is inconsequential here. And I think people are missing the point when they're like, oh, they're being fined. Well, that's not the point here. Okay, the point is High pointed out, and what I agree with him about the most in that article is that it's based on procedure, not on evidence. Okay, and did DJI fail the procedure? Yeah, they did. Okay, they set up these companies. They if you want to call it a shell company, call it a shell company. They did some exhaustive research in finding these out, and they were able to do it.
There's plenty of shell companies in other industries besides drilling. Shell companies are a common thing, Bill. You can find them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're all over the place as far as that's concerned. So and it's just part of this here. There was another article, and I just want to bring it up real briefly in the mix of all this to talk about this, because I think it was important to talk about this one as well too. Is let's see here. Okay.
Hey, well, you're pulling that up, Bill. I do want to emphasize too that I'm not wishing bad things on Sky Rover or Kahita, whatever. But right now, you could go out and buy a Mini 5 Pro, which is FCC approved. You may have to order from eBay, because it may not get through customs, but you can order and fly that legal, and that's a better drone than any of the Kahitas and Sky Rovers and stuff out there. And it's not like Sky Rover's a budget drone; it doesn't cost like $200-300. The Sky Rovers, if you get the kit or whatever, it's $700-800. So I mean, it's really not. It's not really that much cheaper than buying a Mini 5 Pro, which is certified, FCC certified. So
yeah,
taking those drones away from us isn't really hurting us because we can still get our hands on a better mini drone. Plus, you can still find Mini 4 Pros, used or maybe new refurbished. Anyhow, you can still easily get a Mini 4 Pro, which is in many ways just as good as the top of the line Sky Rover or whatever. So I mean, I mean, I don't mean this is bad, but I mean it's not like they're taking drones away from us that are cutting edge or whatever. We're getting
Right, right.
these are kind of budget drones that are just kind of refurbishing older tech that existed in other drones.
Right, because they haven't cloned like a Mavic 4 Pro, okay? There's nothing out there.
Or what they're not taking away from us is if there was a clone of the Mini 6, which isn't even out yet, and they took that away from us, because that would hurt us because, but right now they don't even have a clone for the Mini 5 yet or whatever. So we can
Yeah,
get the
there's
Mini 5. We can fly the Mini 5 legally.
now
So
this article
I just
here.
want to put that in perspective, Bill, that so
Yeah,
far
oh yeah.
they haven't taken tech out of our hands that we can't legally use.
Right. Now, this article's in conjunction with all this, and it's FCC import cutoff for legacy Huawei gear shows exactly how DJI grandfathering can end. And what they mean by grandfather, everybody is aware what grandfathering means. Okay, I just want to make sure of that. FCC ends the legacy equipment loophole after 4 years. The June 26 public notice bars the import and marketing of cover communications equipment that received FCC authorization before 2022 and was added to the cover list in 2024 or earlier, a category built around telecom and surveillance hardware from Huawei, ZTE, Hytera, Hikvision, and Daewoo. The gap dates to November 2022 when the FCC stopped approving new models from these 5 companies but left earlier authorizations intact. Anything approved before that cutoff could still be shipped into the country and sold. Security researchers spent years pointing out that the older hardware shares many of the same weaknesses as the banned new models, including hard-coded credentials and insecure update mechanisms. The June order ends the flow, okay? An October 2025 rule built the cutoff machinery. The legal tool behind the June decision comes from the FCC's October 2025 equipment authorization order, which lets the agency limit a previously granted authorization so a device can no longer be imported or marketed, while the authorization itself survives and hardware already in America keeps working. Okay, FCC's own compliance guide describes the power plainly. The Commission can prohibit further importation and marketing of such equipment without revoking the underlying authorization. Okay, the procedure codified, and there's a number there. Public knows with at least 30 days for comment plus a public interest finding. That is not a high bar. Okay, drone makers escaped this round on a technicality of timing, and we are aware of that as far as that's concerned. But the March notice had stated the legacy equipment proceeding contained a qualifier worth reading. It stated that the prohibition would not currently apply to equipment added to the list after 2024. A limit communication lawyers at Pillsbury, it's hard to read that, flagged it in their client alert. A scope drawn with the word currently is a scope that can move. Okay, Drone XL's take, you can read that right there. Watch the end of this year. The 11 UAS conditional approvals granted through early June all terminate on December 31st, and the blue UAS carve-out lapses 1 day later. DJI's Ninth Circuit petition hangs over all of it. That cluster of expirations is when the FCC decides whether the covered list settles into a stable regime or reaches tighter, and June 26 tells you can which way this agency likes to turn the ratchet. I said in December, and I'll say it again: buy your spare batteries while you still can. Okay, and that's something that we have been saying. I've been saying, and I've been doing it, is to get those spare batteries, get those spare props, chargers, things like that. Maybe even a backup drone or two, as far as that's concerned. Because once this stuff hits, okay, and it's really kind of looking that way, Ron, that this is going to hit at the end of the year, then it's gonna be hard just to get a battery, okay, let alone a new drone. You'll see, the only thing you'll see on Amazon being available to buy are these toy drones that are under 250 grams. no GPS, no camera in them,
Yeah,
no
Bill,
nothing.
under 150 grams.
Yeah. Oh yeah, under 150 grams.
Hey, but
So
Bill,
yeah.
but here's the bigger question here. I think as far as not being able to get stuff. Okay, right now all the DJI flagship drones are FCC approved. Mavic 4 Pro, Mini 5 Pro, Air 3S. Okay, so the next drone up looks like to be replaced. We'll say the Mini 4. I mean the Air 4 is coming out maybe this year. So the Air 4 comes out, Bill. We cannot get it, but of course we keep flying the Air 3S and buying the Air 3S, right? But how long will DJI keep making new Air 3Ss after the Air 4 comes out? 6 months, a year. Eventually, they'll stop making the Air 3S. So even though we can still get that and fly it, that pipeline is going to close. So we won't be. I mean, will they be making an Air 3S in 5 years if R goes bad or we need another one? So and that will go for all the flagships or whatever. That when a Mini 6 comes out or whatever, the Mini 5 will eventually kind of get discontinued or whatever. And even though that's still legal in the US, they won't be making anymore. So when all that stuff happens, that's when we'll really be out because we won't be able to replace the models we have, even if we crash them or they wear out or whatever, because DJI will discontinue manufacturing them. So that's really our time for these artificial things that FCC may be putting up there.
That's an excellent point, Ron. And I think what's going to happen probably in this instance, I think, for example, I think DJI is probably going to extend the life of making, say, like that Air 3S or the Mini 5 Pro.
Hopefully, but we don't know that for sure. Hopefully.
We don't know that for sure, but okay, in terms of that, it's either right now it's either get that income, on a drone that is, we're going to upgrade the model on, or get no income from the United States because, if they still make the Mini 5 Pro, if they still make the Air 3S, they're still going to be able to get that income stream, all right? But if they, if they're advancing to say like an Air 4 or a Mini 6, they won't get that income stream from the United States, which we saw is $1.56 billion according to court documents. So, I mean, that's a lot of money they leave on the table, Ron. So I got to think that they're probably going to extend the life of this infinitely. Okay, I don't think you will see a cutoff for, say, an Air 3S, and I don't think you'll see a cutoff for a Mini 5 Pro or a Mavic 4 Pro. Okay, these are ones that are easily available in the United States, and it would be like, okay, you don't want to cut off a source of income, all right, and that's what DJI would be doing in essence. By stopping them, making them, they'd be cutting off a big source of income for them, $1.56 billion from the United States.
Hey, Bill, can I respond to Dr. Ted's comment here about 5-6 comment back? He said, with all this junk going on, has anyone lost interest? Sadly, I have. And Ted, don't let Bill and I sitting here talk about this junk discourage you because, Ted, I flew 2 drone jobs today. I mean, I'm flying more than ever now. When I'm out flying, whether I'm doing pro jobs or rec jobs, when I take the drone up, I don't think of all this junk in my head. I'm not worried I can't get the drone that doesn't come out 2-3 years now. I'm having fun flying the drone I have now. I mean, don't get caught up in the future, whatever. We have great drones right now. Get out and fly them or whatever. I can't predict what's going to happen 5 years from now, whatever. But I don't let it ruin. I don't let what I can't get in 5 years ruin what's happening, what my enjoyment of drones right now.
And Ron, that is an excellent point to make here. And one of the reasons.
Yeah, it's our fault, Bill. We're kind of being Debbie Downers here, and we don't really mean to.
Right. We don't. And that's a great point, Ron. What we're trying to do, number one, first and foremost, we've been about getting information out to you as a consumer in the consumer drone space. Okay. Drone Nation does that. We do that. Johnny and Ray do that. Bill Thomas does that. Our job is to pass information on to you, okay? And this is why we're spending this time on this, because we want you to be informed and make informed decisions on this. And I've been a harbinger the past several months, and I've kind of stockpiled up on some batteries, on some propellers, on other items, some chargers.
And you said whatever your favorite drone is, maybe it's a good idea to get a backup copy of that.
if you can afford to do that. Now, DJI does make them, and you can
Well, if you
probably
can
check.
afford to go out and buy every new drone that comes out, every drone release, you can surely afford to buy a backup drone for something you already have.
And just all you got to do is buy the drone and the controller, not even a battery or just the drone itself. If you can find them out on eBay, there are some sellers out there. You got to be careful though, but there are some sellers out there that will sell the drone only. And I know Evelyn, she does sell a lot of drones only that she takes out of a package. I mean, and she'll pack it up nice.
Which is
But
okay if you already own a bunch of controllers. Like if you have five DJI RC N3 controllers laying around, you probably don't need the sixth one.
exactly, okay, you won't need a controller, and batteries are everywhere. Okay, so do something like that. And the other point, and I think Ron brings up, Ted, is this is enjoy what you have right now. Just because we're telling you all of this, okay, we want you to be informed. That's our mission behind it. Our mission is not to be Debbie Downers or negative Nellies. We want to keep you guys informed, to know what's going on, know what's presently happening out there. All right, this is why I said this show is important, not from a downer standpoint, but from an educational standpoint, so you're aware. So, Bill and Ron didn't say anything about this, and look at all this happening. No, you're not going to hear that from us, because we're telling you the truth on what's going on right now, so you can be educated and informed and make informed decisions regarding your drones. And I got to tell you this, all right? You know what I spend? I spend one day a week, maybe half a day a week, because I get the show ready and everything, and doing the show and everything. All right. You know what I did the other 6 days during the week? Okay, I either fly drones, I talk up drones, I promote drones, I do everything I can to tell people about the best hobby on the face of this planet is drones. Okay, I do, because it's, as Bill Thomas so eloquently does, and name it drone therapy. It really is. I feel so, and every one of you, I know every one of you, when you go out there and fly, you feel so much better. All right, it really, it kind of gets your endorphins pumping. Okay, you went out, you had a successful flight. I know Ron, when he's flying for real estate, I mean, it's the same way. He gets out there, he flies. It's a nice day. You're outside, you're enjoying things, and you get some great scenery. You get some
No, I
great
did a
views.
job in Wildwood today where, I pulled up the house, I pulled up to the condo or whatever I was going to do. There was a guy outside, and he had a condo there, and he was talking to me. I said, well, I'm here to do a real estate shoot. He said, I'm really interested in drones. I'm thinking about getting drones. Man, I talked to that guy more I did flying the drones. He was so interested in what I was doing, so interested in the equipment. I was showing him the equipment and what the screen looked like. So, I mean, like, I had fun and this guy, he loved to talk about drones. He was very interested in drones. He doesn't care about all this negative Nelly stuff about bands and whatever. He was really interested, and kind of made my day. Instead of somebody saying, "Oh, you can't fly that drone here," I had the complete opposite. I had a guy I had a great experience with.
And conversely here, I mentioned a little earlier in the show, I bought, I got an Osmo 360, and I'm pinging some of our friends here, like Alex Escardo and Sean from Air Photography and others, and some of you dropped in the chat, some of these other guys who are doing it as well too, and branching out and doing that. But I'm going to be using my drone with all of that. All right, understand that. So I'm going to incorporate that. So that's an exciting part. I'm really looking forward to. All right, it's technology that we have access to, and I love the Avata 360, by the way. And you're going to see more videos out on that, because resoundingly, people are absolutely loving them. So I'm going to get more out there, because I think it's a fun drone to fly, and the footage from it is absolutely stellar. I'm really enjoying that. So all in all, I mean, there's a lot to be thankful for. There's a lot to be encouraged about, and I know, conversely, I'm also hearing, why are you talking about an Air 4? We're never going to be able to get that. You know what? Valerie has a saying, education is knowledge, okay? And if you have knowledge, and knowledge will empower you and be able to understand things, okay? Never say never on things, but it's always good to know about things like that, all right?
And we made the same decision on Drone Nation. We're not going to stick our head in the sand and ignore new products out there.
Exactly, Ron. Because I've had comments from some people, and gotten some emails, well-meaning, but basically, why are you still talking about these drones that we can never get? And I said, you know what? Education and knowledge is so incredibly important.
Put Dr. Ted's comment up as it's the most recent comment in the chat.
Ah, there you go, Dr.
Okay,
Ted.
Dr. Ted, get out there.
And you know what? And that's
And of course,
that's what.
he lives out in Idaho with Marcus, so he's probably still got sunlight, Bill.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's nothing preventing you from going out and flying, okay? And go out there and enjoy your drones. All right, that's the message that we want to bring week in and week out. Drone Nation, Rotor Talk, Johnny and Ray shows, Bill Thomas. Get out there, fly your drones, enjoy them, have fun. That's what this is all about. Get some great pictures, get some great video. Put some great videos together out on YouTube. Drop them out on Drone Nation's group page or Build a Drone Reviewers group page.
Fly those drones until they come take them out of our hands.
Exactly. Until they pry them out of my cold dead hand. Exactly. Okay. Which, you know what? It's not going to happen. So don't be, I'm not going to go any more than that. Ron, do you have anything else to say as we wrap things up
I just want
here?
everybody to know that I'm doing fine. I had a little episode yesterday where I don't know what happened, Bill. Like I bent over real low to pick something up, and I got like dizzy and nauseous and whatever. And like I thought, well, I'd be okay in 5 minutes. I just couldn't shake it off. I went to bed still a little dizzy and nauseous. I woke up this morning. I was much better, but I still was a little hungover because the day wore on. I got better and better. I wasn't able to eat much because, again, somebody said eat. I was nauseous. I finally ate a good dinner tonight or whatever. I think it's all gone. I even had like kind of a dull headache. I don't know what hit me. I mean, I felt like I sort of had a cold today, but anyhow, but it wasn't my heart. I checked my heart rate. All my vitals were good, blood pressure, all that. So it was nothing that nothing medical. I was just at my ear, nose, and throat doctor last week. I was fine. So again, I'm all good, folks. Thanks for everybody who reached out to me.
So, Ron,
Yeah, and I did. I was drinking the whole time, even though I was nauseous. I didn't want to drink water. I was forcing it down yesterday.
I mean, you weren't dizzy at all, were you, when that happened?
That was my problem.
Okay, you may have
it something up, and I got dizzy and nauseous all at the same time. I mean, for a while, I just had to kind of sit on the floor until I got enough back to get to the chair.
Well, I think you may have had what Valerie had, having that vertigo. Because it's
I've suffered from vertigo in the past, my ear problems, and the room wasn't necessarily spinning. It wasn't the vertigo that I experienced, say, 10 or 12 years ago.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it could have been a moderate case, but it was not the I had what Val had. I had it. I mean, I would at one point I laid in bed and the room was spinning around on me or whatever.
Well, one thing that's helped Valerie, and we found that out, is hers is it's positional vertigo. And one of the things that was exacerbating it, believe it or not, something as crazy as this, is wiping down the shower, bending down and wiping out the shower in the morning. So what she's done is she's gotten a squeegee on and attached a towel to it because we have a glass shower, and that's how she wipes it down so she doesn't have to bend over. And that's made a world of difference for her. I mean, she really, and we also have a adjustable bed now, an electronic adjustable bed, which you can raise that mattress up, and it's a perfect height for her, and it's very comfortable for her. So
hey, let me ask Dr. Ted's question. Dr. Ted, when I was able to get up from my episode, it was like 108 over 76, and my heart rate was like 78 or whatever. So they're both good numbers for me.
That's good.
I monitored a couple times during the night, and it didn't very much off those numbers.
Well, that's good to hear, and we're glad you're doing better, Ron. That's sorry you had to go through that.
I mean, so good to you. And I only did 2 drone jobs, but the second drone job is a Wildwood, who has some people say the biggest boardwalk in New Jersey. Other people say, anyhow, I walked 2 miles on the boardwalk at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon in July. I say, how sick can you be if you can walk 2 miles on the boardwalk in the middle of Somerville?
Exactly here. Exactly.
So
that's right, Alex.
And congrats on getting that the Osmo 360. I'll be anxious to see what your reviews. I know this is your first non-drone 360 camera, so I'll be real interested in your thoughts on the device.
I'm real excited, and I have the cover coming for it. I already have a cage for it, and got the selfie stick for it. I'm going to take probably some tests, do an unboxing, do some test footage this weekend on it, and see how things go. And I'm going to really be looking forward to you know, finding ways. And I got some good advice from Sean from Air Photography about mounting this in the bed of the crawler. So you know, getting some footage from that, because Sean's shown some footage from it. It's just absolutely awesome.
You ordered the protective covers for when you do that stuff, right?
Right. I had to order them.
I guess I'm saying I know that doesn't have replaceable lenses, but you can get lens guards for it, which kind of does the same thing. I mean,
right. It's from DJI.
You need to replace them because you put the lens guards on.
Yeah, I ordered those from Adorama. Amazon didn't have them, and they'll be here this Thursday. So I'm gonna be doing some unboxing this weekend. But Saturday is well, Thursday is my birthday, so I took Thursday off. So I'm gonna enjoy the day. Maybe fly some drones, get some breakfast, work on some videos, just kind of have a chill day. And then Saturday, Valerie's birthday was last week. Saturday, we're going to be going out to upscale place called Capitol Grill. And
we have the Capitol Grill up here too.
Yeah, it's the kind where they have the little metal scraper that they scrape the table off with, and they snap the napkin and all that, and it's it's high class service. And we used to go there at least once a year. We're going to try to get there at least twice a year now. I got some new pants.
Not too much red meat, Bill. At your age, you don't want to get the problems of eating too much red meat.
Exactly. So that's all we have for tonight, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, you know, our message is get out there, fly, have fun, enjoy your drones.
Don't let us discourage you with this talk.
Yes, do not, you know,
the products already owned.
Get out there, enjoy what you have fun. As always, guys, it's a great day to fly. Take care. Have a great rest of your week.